Someone once said, "This club will be the death of me." And Sir Alex looked exactly dead. Man United 1, Brighton 2, we're out of the FA Cup. We're out in the first round, round 3, basically the first round we can play in. And the same thing happened in the EFL Cup. We were out in round 2 to Grimsby. This against Brighton. But what was not different in the two performances is that we didn't show intent in either one. It didn't seem like we wanted to win either one. Now, Amram has left. So, some people would think, oh, it should be an automatic reset because we've seen Ole come in the past and things just change. Thing is, even when we were pushing for Amarim out, there was always one thing that nobody else discounted. Is the fact that players like Dalot, Ugarte, even Dogu to an extent, there are players in this team that aren't well suited to Man United standards. So we need to get them out before we can expect world class results. But I'm not going to just discount everybody else because Sesko scored today, but you would argue the guy, he was off it. Cunha was horrible for probably the third game running. We need to have questions about should Cunha even start in the first place. Because me personally, I would even play Fernandes ahead of him. Fernandes is another one. He's been good this season. He's had his good performances. However, when it comes to certain games, he's going to shut down. Why? If the delivery is not working, then suddenly he looks missing. Because he can't dictate play, and I don't blame him really because that's not his game. If you really want to pick out one player who had a decent game, it's Kobe Meno. Because he didn't do anything world class, he didn't do anything flashy, he just kept the game simple, kept the game ticking. Kind of what we needed. But you pair Ugarte with Mino, we know it's not going to work because how many times have we seen this in the past? We've seen Casemiro Ugarte starting, the only time it did work was at Anfield. But apart from that, it's never worked because we need a Casemiro who's a bit more disciplined. In other words, we need a more of a Baleba. We need a younger Casemiro. So dropping Meno and Ugarte was never going to work in the first place. Now the midfield and the defense still have that big gap between them. How do we fix that? For starters, we can start by playing actual defensive midfielders in midfield. Neglect Ugarte, who the one good thing I will give Ugarte though, when it comes to tenacity, he is on him. After that, you got to get the ball back and then you got to progress the ball. But sometimes you have to be the one to do it. You can't always expect Meno to do it because you have the ball. Maybe you're under pressure. Maybe there's an opportunity and Ugarte can't capitalize on that. Lacey got a red card. Pretty harsh if you ask me. I think the referee Simon Hooper was after our players. Now people are not going to like that. But it's bigger than that. It's a lot bigger than that. Because there were certain fouls that were given to Brighton that were not given to us in the same breath. And this inconsistency is not the first time, guys. We've seen this before. But here's what I'm going to ask you. After seeing today's game, forget the fact that United are out. That's secondary to me. One thing is, we've already established this before. The Premier League is a pretty hyped up league. And some people are going to tell me that this was an entertaining game because both sides had chances. The game was end to end. But if we're being real, Brighton scored. They were clinical today. They had, you could argue, 3-4 chances. Welbeck should have scored one of his chances. And apart from that, it's the 2 goals that came. They scored their chances. United did not really create much. The only chance that they really created, if you want to call it, the only chance that you could say that they created was the one early in the first half when it was on Dalot. But apart from that, there wasn't any clear-cut chances like Brighton did. And you would say Brighton deserved it on the balance of the game. Sesko was not good enough. Fernandes, the deliveries weren't good enough. Through balls weren't good enough. Cunha was missing. Lacey, when he came on, Lacey was a bright spark. By the way, this is what I'm talking about. When we want impact, we're talking about players like Lacey. And it's not easy to come by. He got a red card. You could say, you know what, he's still young. So the flashy, fiery nature is going to come in. The guy does remind me a lot of Phil Foden. And he has that signature left curving shot. What we had with Anthony. But let's just say that this kid is going to click. We know. He's got the temperament. He's got that fiery nature. I like this. And he's got that chaos. This is what you want from young players. But what normally gets coached out of young players is this young fiery instinct. We have seen it with Kobe Mano in the past. The season he broke through, the guy was trying everything. He was pretty much a maverick. But when coaching comes into play, certain coaches tell them, oh, sit back, don't maybe do what you want to do. Maybe help the team out a bit more. And suddenly they become the robotic pass first players. And it's good. But what happens is you become more of a Bukayo Saka of now, or Cole Palmer of now, than what they were when they broke out. This is what happens to young players, and we should not let this happen to Lacey and JJ Gabriel when he comes through. Will be pretty much the same thing. And if Cunha keeps performing this way, we have a case for Gabriel next season. But sticking to this season, we will have Ahmad playing, we will have Mbomo playing. Cunha has to drop to the bench. The four at the back is not the worst idea, but what is missing right now is that there are still remnants of Ruben Amorim's system. How we've tried to defend in that system is pretty much what we are persisting with. Can we blame them? Because some people are going to go at United fans saying, oh, we shouldn't have sacked Amorim in the first place because, look, we're playing the same way, we have the same results. First thing is, we're not playing the same way because we're creating more chances. However, the Burnley game, we can say, was much superior to the game today. Simple reason being, in that game we were trying to find Sesko. Sesko was our linked man, and there was a focal point where we were putting crosses to. That's how you use Sesko. You use Sesko by running in behind, not necessarily as a target man. And we've seen this being exposed so many times. Xerxes is not a target man where you put a long ball to him and then he brings it down and then we transition quickly. But this is exactly Amorim's playbook. And I don't expect Fletcher to be this world-class magnifico in tactics, because that's not what we hired him to do. And in fact, he's going to be gone after this game. He had his time. He got, 1 point for us? Take that and leave it. That's it. But we expect more from the next permanent manager. That's when we're going to really scrutinize it. Because even Ole or Carrick, they're just interims. They're just going to be here for a bit and then they're going to do their own thing. They're going to be on their own path. But meanwhile, we're going to find our manager. We got to find a playing system that works. And we got to find players that really care for the badge. We use this phrase a lot. But there's one more thing. The guys have to be technically secure. Because we're chasing physicality when this league is built on physicality. It's really whoever has the most physical team and can play some decent football, they can win games. Which is why Arsenal are going to win the league, because they have the physicality in check. They have been building that for years. Their set pieces on check, which we also do have on, to be fair. But apart from that, after that, you have to be a little bit technically secure, which is why they got Zubimendi, they got Rice. And suddenly that midfield can almost play. And that's why they're winning the league. City, on the other hand, second place. They have a similar build, but they are technically superior to all the other teams, which is why they're second. And after that, there's a big drop off in all those teams. The reason being, we need to have better players technically. Kobe Mainoo is one of them. But apart from that, you're looking at players like Ahmad. Ahmad can play. But can Mbomo play? He can at times, right? If you're going to really build a partnership between Ahmad and Mbomo, maybe. Cunha can play on his day, but the guy, his first touch isn't the best. And that lets him down so many times in the Premier League. Sesko can play, but we're using him wrong. Fernandes this season has been able to play, but today was not his day. Casemiro can play, but he's old. It's the same stories, guys. We can have excuses for all these players. Dalot is not good enough. Dogu is better on the right wing, even though we signed him as a left back. And our centre backs, Martinez can pass, he can't defend. Euro is just looking scared at the moment. Heaven didn't get a chance today. Lamens, what do we even say about Lamens? The guy makes good saves sometimes, but then he's culpable for some other errors. So, you can't really make sense of what's happening at United right now. All we can say right now, we have another trophyless season, 2 in a row, by the way, and we're probably going to finish 5th. It's just somber end to the season. Season's over in January. What do you guys think? Comment down below, and I will see you all in the next one.